Shai by Hashem Rakakwadash Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of your elect out there. Shalom. Shalom. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video Proof that this is the Roman Empire again, or all over again. Trump and Super Bowl. Super Bowl, you can't argue that Super Bowl is not a gladiator event. That's definitely a gladiator event. Of course, in the ancient pagan, over 2,000 years ago, they didn't have the NFL, the AFC. They didn't have the Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs. But you had some of those spirits, if not all of them, that were actually in the gladiatory events. We don't have chariot races today, but we have NASCAR, Indy 500. Gladiatorial events, fights, the UFC, which, if you do the research, it's a Google away, that Donald J. Trump, the president, aka Nero Caesar, and you heard it first from the men of GMS, that this is Nero Caesar. I said it, and it kind of caught on. It makes all the sense in the world that he's the Caesar. That Caesar, Nero. But anyway, he went to, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not going to look it up. He went to at least one, and I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 UFC events. The first one that he attended is the UFC. They had the UFC when Conor McGregor fought, because they just got a license to hold UFC MMA events in New York City. There was New York State, because New York didn't want that to happen, and there was a backstory behind that. I'm not going to go to it. That's a whole nother video. But if I'm not mistaken, he was the one that I believe he was president at that time. Matter of fact, we were speaking down right up. It was at Madison Square Garden. We was on 34th and 7th, and if I'm not mistaken, we had another camp on 33rd and 7th, which was right next to the Madison Square Garden. I remember he's had these big boxing events, and you would even see certain boxers pass by the camp, kind of look at us. Or I remember Letterman, the guy, he was an Edomite. Yeah, he passed by. He had a head, his head was as big as a barrel of pickles. He looked, he looked at us. He kept moving. I said, "That's a Letterman." And other boxers you would run into. What's the brother's name that played for the Knicks? John Stark, if I'm not mistaken. He came to the camp, just looked at us, tall as hell. He didn't say nothing. He just kind of stayed there for about a minute, and then he just walked away. But anyway, the first event, UFC MMA event that Trump went to was in, and I believe it was either 2017, 2018, because he had already been the president. And then there was others, like I said. I'm not going to do I'm not going to look it up. You can do it yourself. It's not important. But I do know, and I may bring it up, but I do know he went to at least one UFC event. Oh, he's really cool with the president, the CEO, whatever. What's this dude's name? Goddamn. It'll come back to me. Dana White. He's real close to Donald Trump. Anyway, he would speak at his campaign events. But anyway, like I said, I've been saying this for years, number of years, that Donald Trump, especially when he ran for president, he actually became president. That's when I said, well, this guy's, the presidents The presidents today were, for the most part, Caesars back then. For the most part. There's certain presidents that stick out that they got an old spirit, like Trump, you know. And like I said, it made all the sense in the world. It made all the sense in the world that he's Caesar. That he, as a matter of fact, he's Nero Caesar. Anyway, so it says right here, Trump to make history as the first president to attend the Super Bowl. So I'm going to be watching I watch the Super Bowl. I'm not in the football. I'm not a big fan of it, but if there's a game on, I will watch it, especially at the end of the season, especially the Super Bowl. And we don't get together with the brothers. We'll get together, the bishops and some of the other, apostles. It'll be a big boxing match, and they'll normally come most of the time to my crib. But the Super Bowls, we don't do that. The Super Bowl's on, let me watch it. I'll sit down. I don't get excited. I just watch it, and that's it. But this is history. He's making history. He's making history. And he has to be, if he's not Nero, he's one of the Caesars. He could be, the Roman Empire. Esau's his reign was about 150 years. Talking about what is it, 50 BC to almost 100 AD. And then you had 12 principal guys that were Caesars. Speaks about the heads, the 3 heads, and the one more prominent than the other 2, and the 12 feathers. When you read 2 Esdras, 2 Esdras, 11 and 12. By the way, we were the first ones that broke it down. Even Esau couldn't break that down. Bishop Nate can't come close to it, And I even put some of the it was like a 6-part thing. It was myself and Apostle Rhymelab that I did it. And that's history. Then you had men that started up under us. GMS elders came up. They did their own version, of that breakdown. So anyway, I'm sorry. Let me just read this. Okay, Trump to make history as the first president to attend the Super Bowl. Anyway, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Where am I going to go? Let me go to Emperor. All right. Emperor Nero and gladiator events. Emperor Nero held, and like I said, we, in previous videos, we taught in the past about reincarnation, everything. This is something that Christians don't understand, and this is how we know that the Heavenly Father, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, is not dealing with Christians. All you got to do is bring up the topic on any prophecies, any of the prophecies. They don't know them. There's a handful that might know part of the prophetic parts of the scriptures. They don't touch that. Another thing they don't touch is reincarnation. It says Emperor Nero held extravagant gladiator. This is this guy, Trump. Well, I'm gonna watch tonight and see what happens. They're gonna make a big deal. Gladiator events in the Roman Empire, including a show where he forced senators and equestrians, which are military men. So this guy Nero is a madman. He was like, look, I'm gonna have you senators fight against these men of war, equestrians, horse people that ride horse but of high position. You had a legion consisted of almost 7,000 men. About I think it's 600 were on horses, which are called equestrians, and the rest were footmen. So the ones on horses were on a higher level than the footmen. Okay, so this madman said, "I'm gonna have you senators fight." You know, he was a madman. Equestrians to fight in the arena. He also put on other spectacles such as naval battles. And now I got to look this up. Let me look this up. Let me look this up. Let me open up another tab. Give me a second. Let me get my bearings straight. Okay. I believe they're going to really go all out with this Super Bowl since the president is there. Okay, let's see how do we say this? How do we say it? The whatever, Chigos or Peri or whatever hike dance was the best known war dance of the Greeks. It was probably a Dorian origins and practiced at first solely as a training. Now that you have the what do they call the Maoris, the Japhetic people. They did that war dance. I just want to see how you say it. The Pair hike dance was the best known war dance of the Greeks. Like I said, when these sons of Japhet, which they do it today, playing rugby or whatever, Australian rules football, they'll do that dance. And they got Edomites and Jake doing that dance. So I believe it's the same dance. It was probably of Dorian origins and practiced at first solely as a training for war. According to ancient sources, it was a weapon dance. Let me see. Let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. Trying to get my bearings straight on this. Okay, we're gonna hear how it sounds.
Pyrrhic.
Okay, Perak of victory, won at two great a cost to having I don't know what they're saying with that. Perak. I guess it means victory. It means victory. Of a victory. Perak is of a victory. Perak. Let me do this. Meaning. Right. These guys got to be Japhet. Like I said, they do that dance. Meaning. It's saying they're going to be the same thing. Let me go to images. And the Romans picked it up from because it said it started from the Greeks. The original Greeks are Japhetic, sons of Japhet. Maori war dance. Oh, there we go. Maori war dance. So you had the Greeks was doing it. These are the original Greeks, by the way, and they actually do this crazy dance before they go to war. And they'll have you got a lot of sons of Japhet that play for the NFL and the AFC, and you have a mixture of Japhet, and you have Esau, and you have Jake. So they learn that dance. They do that dance, you know. Maori war dance in the NFL. NFL. See, these are Edomites. They got look. Wait a minute. Okay, some of them are Japhet. You see some Jake. You see a Jake back there. And because it gets you ready for war. And it intimidates the enemy. I'm not going to... Yeah, they stick the tongue out. So, let me... Perak dances, right? He also put on other spectacles such as naval battles and Perak dances, which I just showed you what that is. They got that from Japhet. They make the song, ooh, ooh, ooh. Then they get hyped for war. Here it is right here. That's supposed to represent the weapons. They're supposed to intimidate the enemy that you're going to fight. The history of New Zealand's haka, which is Perak dance, its cultural significance, and how it is viewed. The athletic. That's enough on that. So I'll be watching tonight just to see what goes on at the Super Bowl. It's going to be a history-making Super Bowl because you got the first president of the United States attending. But that's what they did back then. It said gladiator events, gladiator fights. Nero held gladiator fights in a wooden amphitheater or arena in the campus Martius district. The fights were brutal and often choreographed to the death. When you go into the history of the gladiators, they didn't fight to the death, but they got injured, and some people died from the injuries, but they didn't fight to the movies. You got the emperor puts a thumb down and all that. No, they got injured, and then they had the best medical care, and they would keep fighting. By the way, all gladiators, which was Jake, they were all slaves of the Roman Empire. Naval battles, Nero, and naval battles in salt water with sea monsters. These were choreographed battles. Perak dances. Nero held shows where Greek, because who are the original Greek? The sons of Japhet. And this is what they look like. Let me come back to it. And this is what the original Greeks look like. They passed for Jake. Okay. Peric dances, Nero held shows where Greek youths performed Peric dances that represented various scenes. Wild animal hunt. So they got wild animals and put in the arena and they hunted the animals down. It said Nero held wild animal hunts in the morning at the Colosseum. Ludi Meridiani. Nero held Ludi Meridiani, where condemned criminals. Now he's talking about you got to get those criminals out of here. I don't care if you're born in the USA. We're gonna get you out of here. You know, a guy beats up an old lady. We're gonna get you out of the country. So that's this dude, and this guy has to be the last president or the last emperor, and he's got to be Nero. I'll be surprised if he's not Nero. Criminals were thrown to the surviving beasts or made to reenact ancient myths. Just kill them. Just put in there with the beasts and let them fight. Remember, Paul said, I fought wild beasts at Ephesus, right? Burlesque comedies. Nero held burlesque comedies to break up the rhythm of slaughter. So it was you was at the arena and you saw a guy get his head chopped off, his arm chopped off, stabbed up, died. They had to carry him off, and people they put their head down and so forth. You can just imagine you seeing guys, you rooting for a guy, he gonna win, and he winds up getting his head chopped off. You know, stabbed in the heart or something. So people would be sad. You know, it hurts to see people getting put to death, you know, even if it's a stranger. So he would say, okay, let's have this comedy. Let's get the people cheered up. So this guy is a real madman. He's a madman. Let me read some more. Okay, let me read this here. Gladiators in the Roman Colosseum through eternity tours, whatever this is. Rise and fall of Nero, Rome's most infamous emperor. You got all these people, the red states. We got to get he's our man. We got to get him up there. He's gonna make it great. He's gonna make it bad for everybody. Now, when you read the bio on Nero, how did he die? He killed himself. Because the people wound up hating him. Hey, these good old boys, these Bible Belt people, these Edomites from down south, which a lot of them is Jake, that put him up in there, make America great again. When my take is, he's got to be the one that introduces the MOTB, and a lot of them are Bible thumpers. So that's when they're going to most likely turn on them. Hey, we're in the last few seconds of this man's system, man. This could be the year that the Most High delivers us and destroys this place. If it's not this year, it could be the beginning of 2006. We don't see this place going another 10 years. You know, Trump becoming president and he leaves office and a new guy comes in and then another guy no. There's too much shit's happening around the world. Okay, he openly said we're going to take Gaza. It said September 1st, 2024, Nero became emperor at the age of 16. Nero's early years as emperor were generally, you got to read the rest of that. a case study, Nero, spectacles in the Roman world. At the Gladiator show, which the Super Bowl is a gladiator event, which he gave a wooden amphitheater, Coliseum, stadium. That's why in America you got stadiums all over the country, right? And who builds these stadiums? These corporations. You got Citi Field in Queens, which used to be Shea Stadium. You got the Staples Center. So these stadiums are being built up by these corporations, and the corporations work hand in hand with, with politicians, and that's what you call fascism, right? The power of the Roman Empire is the fasci. Look up the word fasci, and part of America's symbol is the eagle. Rome had the eagle and the fasci. Look up the word fasci. Okay, let me go over there to this here. Okay, Roman Caesars that attended gladiatorial events. It said, according to historical records, the Roman Emperor Commodus is the most well-known Caesar, in which he was a Jake, to have actively participated in gladiatorial combat. And they showed you that at the first Gladiator movie. At the end, he fought a wounded, the guy that their guy never existed. That's fiction, all right? Even entering the arena himself to fight against other gladiators, often with rigged matches to ensure his victory. Other emperors like Caligula, Titus, and Claudius, which is the father of Nero, are also mentioned to have attended and sometimes participated in gladiatorial events, though to a lesser extent than Commodus. Commodus was like an asshole. Did any Roman emperors ever fight in a gladiatorial event? Gladiator arena. Emperor Rich. Let me. Okay, this is what I wanted. Who attended the gladiator games? Roman gladiator games were an opportunity for emperors and rich aristocrats. When you have the emperor, the politics, the Caesar, and the super rich get together, that's fascism. That's fascism. To display their wealth to the populace, to the poor, the people, to commemorate military victories, and America's known for that. They'll have the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Mark visits from important officials, celebrate birthdays, or simply to distract the populace from the political and economic problems of the day. See, people gonna forget about them problems when they watch the Super Bowl. Oh my goodness, he's there, the first president. They're gonna make a big deal. All you men out there, you should be watching the Super Bowl just to see what happens. This is a history's first. And some of these Caesars were gladiators in the past. The character that Denzel played, Mike Kranos, when you read his bio, he was a gladiator that came up into the ranks. Remember, Jake had took the Roman. Jake got into the power seat, became Roman emperors. They got up in the Senate. They became consuls, which is higher than the Senate, and then they became emperors. And the first Jake emperor was back in 96 AD, or was it CE, Common Era, which is AD. Let me do this. Emperor Nero, the madman. Emperor Nero, the madman. How nasty was Nero, really? He sought to poison her. Well, he killed his mother. Then his mother killed his father. Then to have her crushed by a falling ceiling or drowned in a self-seeking boat before ultimately having her murdered. Now I got to open that up, and I believe that's his mother. What was Emperor Nero known for? So we're reading about Trump right now. He looked like Trump. Born Tenium, died in was the first Roman Empire stepson. Well, it says stepson, an heir of the Emperor Claudius. So that's not his actual father, but they don't say what his father is. I got to look that up. He became infamous for his personal debaucheries and extravaganzas, and on a doubtful evidence for his burning of Rome and persecution of the Israelites. The Israelites are the Christians. We the real Christians. So he had that hate for the Israelites back then. He gonna show his hate for the Israelites now. He'll be talking. He said, "Them black. We got to do something about them black Hebrew Israelites. Maybe we'll send them to another country." So this guy's gonna get things rolling. Okay, who was the kindest emperor? I know it's not Nero. Antonio Pius, which he was a Jake. He was considered one of the 5 good emperors. Antonius Pius, he was a Jake. What were Nero's last words before he died? I read this before. It is presumed his last words were, what an artist dies in me." Yeah, he talked shit in his death, and he killed himself because the people hated him. The people loved him at one point, and the people gonna wind up hating him. Is it gonna happen again? The death marked the end of the Julian Claudian dynasty. The Senate likely wanted to hold on to Nero until he could produce an heir that was a part of the dynasty. However, Nero died before ever finding out about this. But he killed himself. Bloodiest emperor. Okay, it says, who was the bloodiest Roman Empire? The 8 bloodiest emperors in the history of Rome. Caligula was 1. Nero was 2. Domitian, which was the younger brother of Titus. Commodus, this was a Jake, bugged out Jake. Marcus Aurelius. Mark Aurelius Antony, which this was a Jake. Marcus Aurelius Antonius, which this is another Jake. Diocletian, which was another Jake. Gaius or Caligula, he was an Edomite. Edomite, Nero, Edomite, Domitian. So know your emperors, man. Because this, hey, in order for you to understand the scriptures, you have to know some Roman history. Let me do this. Emperor Nero hated Emperor Nero. Didn't Emperor Nero kill his wife? Hated. Let me just do this. Okay, look just like this dude. Let me go to images. Let me open it up. If that ain't fat cheek Trump, I don't know what is. So Nero is back. Look at that. Okay. Nero, Emperor Nero hated. Emperor Nero was hated by the Senate and wealthy elites, but was popular with the people of Rome and the province. But at the end of his career, they hated him. And the people. What did Trump say? He said, "I love my poorly educated people." Hated by the Senate and wealthy elites, the Senate considered Nero's behavior undignified and an insult to the Roman values. He does little crazy shit. Was Emperor Nero universally hated during his reign? Why was Emperor Nero unpopular? Remember, he was popular in the beginning. He murdered his first wife, after banishing her, and possibly killed his second after kicking her pregnant belly. This dude was and that sounds like my man. You know what I'm saying? His brutal and sadistic execution. We're reading about Nero. Oh, wait a minute. His brutal and sadistic execution of Christians, Israelites, wasn't unpopular at the time, but as Christians rose to prominence in the empire, Nero's actions were viewed in a much harsher light. Let me read that again. His brutal and sadistic execution of the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, wasn't unpopular at the time. Meaning that people would get them Israelites, kill them, get them out the country, kill them, lock them up, right? But as Christians rose in prominence, which we're raising in prominence in the empire, ultimately Jake took over the Roman Empire. Nero's actions were viewed in a much harsher light. So at the time when he was coming down on Jake, let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. Emperor Nero and the death of the Apostle Peter and the Apostle Paul. Roman Emperor Nero ordered the death. This is what Nero did. Roman Emperor Nero ordered the deaths of Apostle Peter and Paul as part of a persecution of Israelites. That's what it's supposed to be, the Israelites. In 64, he died a couple of years after that. CE, of the Common Era, Nero blamed Christians or Israelites. Then we got to do something about them black Hebrew Israelites. I say we use the guillotine and kill him. He's going to be really harsh if he's the president that sits when the MOTB come out, which I strongly believe he is. Now, somebody tell me that I don't believe he's the one. Okay, tell me in the chat and tell me why, so I can block you. It says Nero blamed Christians for the great fire, which scholars say that he started in order for him to blame it on, demonized us, right? That's why it was popular to get rid of them, banish them, destroy them. That destroyed the Circus Maximus in Rome. Let me read that again. Roman Emperor Nero ordered the death of Apostle Peter and the Apostle Paul. Yeah, kill them guys. But yeah, remember, sign the paper. Give me the paper. Let me sign it off. Executive order. Kill both of them. So it's Nero that had the two great apostles put to death. Peter was crucified upside down because he requested that I want to be crucified upside down. And Paul had a more humane execution, which is he got his head chopped off because he was a Roman citizen. So they couldn't crucify him. They don't do that to Roman citizens. Let me get some more here. Their executions was associated with the year 64 CE, Common Era, when Nero instigated a gruesome persecution, a gruesome persecution of Hebrew Israelites to redirect blame for the great fire that destroyed the Circus Maximus. Peter was crucified upside down because he felt he was unworthy to be crucified in a manner similar to our Lord. Now, history says that he is not in the scriptures, but there's historical accounts where Peter escaped the execution, and he was, I don't know if he was on the Appian Way or whatever, but I believe he was in Rome at that time, and he said, "No, I ain't getting put to death. The hell with this." And he saw Yahushua walking towards him, and he said, "What are you doing? What are you doing here, Yahushua?" And he said, I'm going back to Rome so I can get crucified." Then he put his head down and he felt bad. That was a spirit. But this is, like I said, that's not in the scriptures. That's just certain historical people that had mentioned that's what happened. And he felt bad, and then he turned around and went back and said, you can crucify me, but hang me upside down. I'm not worthy to be hung that way by my Lord. Remember, he betrayed him 3 times, and he put his head down. Okay, let me read a little bit more. Okay, wait a minute. Bible Hub, wait a minute. The persecution under Nero, in which Paul and Peter were. Let me open this up. So if you call yourself knowing the scriptures, you got a New Testament especially, that was during the time of the Roman Empire, the power of the Roman Empire. Look, I'm not going to read this whole thing, obviously. Okay, so the persecution under Nero, in which Paul and Peter were honored at Rome with martyrdom in behalf of the truth. You get a chance, you can read this. It goes into, So I'm looking forward to seeing the Super Bowl, especially tonight, this year. I'm looking forward to it just to see. All eyes will be on Emperor Nero, a.k.a. Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of precepts here. Give me a second. You know what? Let me do this. Roman Empire in Bible times. Okay. What is significant of the Roman Empire in biblical history? What is the significance of the city of Rome in the Bible? The Roman Empire was a major world power during that, just like America. You got the majority of Christians, 98% of them, 99% of them are saying, well, this is not America, because they don't know the scriptures. Vocab would never say that. They would never equate America with Babylon the Great. They said the Roman Empire was a major world power during the time of the New Testament and had a significant impact on the Bible. So if you're reading the New Testament, you're going to have to kind of have a little knowledge of the Roman Empire. The Bible mentions the Roman Empire in several ways, including the persecution of Christians, the infrastructure that allowed the spread of Christianity, or Hebrew Israelism, as Vocab says, and the emperor and the emperors who ruled during the time of the Lord. Let me do this. Open up these images here. Okay, let me do this. Let me go to this here. As soon as it clears up. Okay, that's Italy. Rome, I believe, is right about here. That's Italy. You got Israel, Palestine, Jerusalem down here. Remember, Paul went up here. Paul went to Rome. He went to Greece, Athens. Okay, he was all up in here. Let me do this. So here we go. You got Gaul, you got Spain. Paul went to Spain, Macedonia, Greece, Asia Minor. Then you got the Isle of Patmos, that a Greek island. So this is the movie played all over again, and our bodies are spirits are reincarnated, put in the new bodies. And that was the empire known as the Roman Empire. Historian, you can't say, hey, if you go to history, you got these people that study history, they're going to mention the Israelites. Matter of fact, let me do this. Secular history of the Roman Empire and the Israelites. The secular history of the Roman Empire and the Israelites. You got Jake. Israel never existed. They're really Canaanites. Stay away from them, man. It's primarily marked by a complex relationship of political control where the Roman Empire conquered the land of Judea. Judea is the actual place, home of the Israelites. In 63 BCE, before the Common Era, give me a second, leading to periods of relative tolerance of the Jews. In other words, we're going to let you, we're not going to enslave you, but we're going to tax you. You pay taxes, we ain't going to mess with you. That's what the first 70 AD, that war was all about, because Jake was like, we ain't paying no more tax, because they kept heavily taxing them. Like Trump is going to do. The tax is not going to go, the price is not going to go down, prices are going to go up. Okay? I was watching one video where he called on gathering these illegal aliens, and you know what is coming out? That they're letting them back go. They're grabbing them, catch and release. They're grabbing him, and he's getting, they're questioning him about that. You know what they're finding out? They ain't got no room to put him. And countries won't even accept them. Them countries that Venezuela said, no, you keep them. That's your problem. So this thing that he, this idea that he came up with is making him look bad. It says, because he's the scriptures say, I mean, not the scriptures, but fools rush in. He does things without thinking, without calculating, what's going to happen. He just makes an order and everybody gets happy with the MAGA hats. But it backfires. But they keep it out of the Fox News and so forth, right? It's culminating in the destruction of the Second Temple, which is historic, in Jerusalem, during the First Jewish-Roman War, which is known as 70 AD. Why did they have that war? Because the Romans were taxing the hell out of them, like you don't get taxed today. This event significantly impacted Israelite life and dispersal throughout the Roman Empire, because we were throughout the Roman Empire, just like we out throughout America, with further tensions arising from subsequent rebellions like the Bar Kokhba revolt in 135, because we were still there. So anyway, let me do this, and then I'm going to close. Matter of fact, let me do it this way. Daniel 7. Daniel 7. Let me go to 8. a Bible Hub. Let me go to comment. All right, Cambridge. I consider the horns. I'm sorry. I consider the horns. Behold, another little horn. The first horn was plucked up by the roots. The same order that eyes of the eyes of men. I don't want that. Let me go. I have to go back. I beheld till the thrones are cast down and mentioned. Let me come back. Come back again. 7:7. Daniel 7:7. And I saw in the night vision, behold, the fourth beast, dreadful and terrible. Let's see what this is all about. Let's see what the scholars say. It's at Cambridge Bible Schools. Dreadful and terrible, the same two words occur in combination. Habakkuk 1:7, terrible and dreadful are they. The rendering of the second word, powerful. If I don't get to the point, and stamp at the feet of and it was diverse, and it was diverse. Each of the beasts were diverse from the other, but the terrible appearance of this differentiated it materially from other. They didn't give me what I want. Let me do it this way. Benson commentary. Behold, the fourth beast, the fourth kingdom can be no other than the what? The Roman Empire. So this is the Roman Empire all over again. Pope commentary. Josephus is the author of the Apocalypse of Baruch, being among the number, maintained the Roman Empire to be meant. So now that same beast is mentioned in Revelation, right? Revelation 13. Let's go to that real quick. I did this before, but Revelation. I just want to give you a precept or two. But everybody should be watching the Super Bowl. It's going to happen. It's the first in U.S. history. Okay, let me do this. Let me go here. Okay. Let me write this full out. Roman. Okay. To the days when Roman poets, I'm sorry, I don't want that. Interpretation, found a symbol of the Roman character. Roman comes up 54 times. St. John saw the beast rising out of the sea, but the Roman Empire was risen and established long before St. John. Oh, beautiful, they said that. Because that's representing the ancient Roman Empire and the new Roman Empire. The two horns, the lamb with the two horns, Roman Empire, as it were, wounded to death when the Roman Empire was overturned by the northern nations. There you go. So how did it come back into power? Christopher Columbus. For the ones of you that's been knows, you know what I'm talking about. We got new brothers. Okay, so it says we're reading out of Revelation 13, right? So it equates it to Daniel 7, right? It says righteous sake, but they suffered most under the fourth beast of Daniel, the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire. John saw the Roman Empire again, same thing that Daniel saw, but then he saw, lamb, sheep come out. Like I said, we know this. Let me do this. Then I'm going to close. Revelation 13, verse 11. You know me, I like to deal with this, read these prophecies over and over again. Okay, let me see something. Let me put in, okay, Roman. It said, and I beheld another beast come out of the north earth, had 2 horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. It mentions Rome. You can read it yourself. Revelation 16:13, Revelation 19:20, Revelation 20:10, Revelation 13:1-10. The more restricted determination results that the subject treated in the form of heathen Roman prophecy, which was just as magical as Mentic, and this peculiarity, with all its arduous interpretations of omens, formed an important support of the Roman secular power. So they're telling you that the lamb that came up, the lamb that came up with the horns that spake as a dragon, it's also Rome. But Rome, we're talking about the new Rome. Oh, look at this. Revelation 13, from the 10 horns beast is Rome, or Rome state in general. 2-horned beast, or Roman church in particular, not talking about the Roman church, the Roman Catholic Church. The beast with 10 crown horns is the Roman Empire, right? The beast with 2 horns like a lamb is the Roman hierarchy. They went off on that, but this is the new Rome. This is Rome all over again. Let me do this and I'm going to end it. Is America the new Rome? The United States has been compared to the Roman Empire since the country's founding, but some say the comparison is not accurate. Is the United States a new Rome? Even before Americans were collecting antiquities, our founding fathers sought to recreate the ancient world which is Rome, in America by making Dodge, D.C., a new Rome on the Potomac. Remember what happened on the Potomac, the plane, helicopter crash? America was frequently referred to as a new Rome from very early in its history. This is it. Christians are not going to tell you this because they don't know. Then they'll never, and if they see it, they're not going to, they don't want to say, oh, wow, we're going to get destroyed. We're going to get destroyed. Anyway, with that, shalom.